Hi, you all. This is Latanya back again, reporting from my kitchen floor. I am not necessarily a traditional person. You know how some people come on their videos and they're like sitting proper and they're at a table and presentable and all that. Yeah, me, look, I'm on the floor and I'm just chilling and hanging. No, but I'm actually putting up some groceries, and it just popped in my mind that I wanted to come back on and share some more information with you guys about my journey with my first job, and also to share some new information with you guys about my next program that I'm starting up very soon. So first, I would like to talk about me working as my first job, and how it has been for me. So when I first came in for my interview, let's talk about the interview part, because everybody's interview is going to be different for the position of MRI technologist. So my interview was an interview that I've never had this type of interview before, right? So basically I came in for the interview expecting to be there like maybe less than an hour, maybe sitting at a desk, talking to the manager or owner or whatever, and answering questions based on, what they throw out, and, educating them or giving them a little background about myself, having my credentials, and that be it. I was totally wrong, y'all. Let me tell y'all what happened. So went there, got there on time and everything, and the owner, he was in the middle of a scan. So he was like, just come on in, and have a seat. So he had me to actually come into the room where he scans the patients at the desk. The patient was like in the next room in front of us, and they were, he was scanning them, and he was sitting in a remote room where, you scan the patient using the computer and everything. So he had me to sit down next to him, and he was like, asking me, do I know what he's doing right now? And I said, yeah, you're doing an MRI of, I think he was doing one of either the abdomen, or I don't quite remember exactly what scan he was doing. But I was like, yeah, I know. Oh, that's what he was doing, a scan of the kidneys, the adrenal glands. So what he did was he gave me the chart of the patient. And he like, after me looking at the computer and him asking me that, he was like, here's the chart of the patient. He was like, after reading this, what would you do? So I'm like, okay, so I'm reading the chart, and I'm looking like, okay, pain in the abdomen, blah, 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 so I'm like, okay, suspected kidney, okay, adrenal glands. So I'm reading, and I was like, I would do a scan of the kidneys, focusing on the adrenal glands, so he was like, exactly, that's what I'm doing. And I felt like I had passed the first test. I was like, oh, thank God. I was so nervous, because he just like, I don't know, it was moving too fast for me, you know what I'm saying? So he was like, okay, he was like, so how would you set it up? Based off of what you see here, how would you set it up? How would you position the patient? So I'm like, oh my God, here go another question. And so, I'm answering him and everything. And he was like, okay, and he's still standing, like scanning. He's multitasking, So I'm answering the questions and everything. And he was like, okay. He was like, well, the next scan I want you to do. I was like, oh my God, in my mind, I'm thinking like, oh my goodness, like, I'm finna fall out this chair. Oh my God, I'm hot. Somebody give me some water, because this is like my first, like, I never had an interview like this. Like, he's putting me on the spot, like right there, so I'm like, oh my goodness. So first of all, I was trained on a 1.5 echelon Hitachi throughout my whole, I was there for like 7-8 months of clinicals for my 1,000 hours. So this machine here was an Aries low field open MRI machine. So I was like, you know, and then at that, when I was looking at the computer, you know, how to set everything up as far as like parameters and the sequences that he had available for that specific scan was completely different than what I've ever seen. You know, so I'm just looking like, I really don't, you know, want to be put on a spot like this. But I was like, look, if I have any chance to get in this job, I'm just going to have to bite my lip, you know, and let's just get through it. So the next patient that came in, I think that was I want to say that was either a lumbar. It was somewhere in the lower region. I want to say it was a lumbar. It was a little while ago, so I can't remember like all the specific details. But it was a scan that I liked, basically, because my favorite scans always was to do the brain and the lumbar. That's like my favorites, you know. And so when I seen that, I was like, oh, yes. Oh, thank you, God. I was just like, this is so awesome. So, you know, he had me to actually come in with him, you know, to scan the patient. So he had me to come in there with him to position the patient and everything. And, you know, he wanted to see, like, if I knew what I was supposed to know, you know. So, you know, I had to, you know, like, show my little skills, you know, my little knowledge. And, you know, so I did the thing. And when we got to the computer, that was my issue, because his protocols were set up a little bit different. So, like, for example, on the machine that I practice on for clinicals, when you do a scanogram, automatically your axial, your coronal, and your sagittal pops up automatically. For his, you first have to do the sagittal, and then in order to get a coronal, you have to set up the coronal scan off of the sagittal scanogram. So you have to go back, click the little parameter, or click the little box that says sagittal, coronal, axial, you know, all that. And then you have to click coronal. Then you have to go into your database and pull your sagittal image that, you know, was, or the sagittal scanogram that, you know, was scanned first. And then you have to plan, you know, plan your coronal off the sagittal. So I was like, what? You know, normally, you know, all three of those will pop up automatically. So he was like showing me like how his system is set up and how to do that. So I was like, okay, you know, and I took in everything he said. I had my iPad with me, you know, so I took in everything he said. I started typing stuff like, okay, so we got to plan the coronal off of the sagittal. Okay, so what about the axial? You know, so he was telling me that. So, so I literally was there. I got there at 11. I didn't leave till 5 p.m. 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. And, you know, basically that was like a day of work. You know what I'm saying? All just about part-time day of work, you know. So I was just like wondering, like, you know, that whole time I was there, like, how much longer is he going to have me here? You know, after we was done with the lumbar, then we had like 2 to 3 other patients who came in. And, you know, he was just having me to sit there and watch him, you know, and he was asking me questions, you know, like, if I increase the field of view, what am I losing? And I was like, resolution, you know. He was like, okay. He was like, well, if I increase the TR, you know, what am I gaining? You know, so I was just like answering all these questions and stuff. And he was like, okay. And at the end, he was like, well, when can you start? And I was like, in my mind, I was like, yes, 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 yes. I'm just being honest. I was like, I can start today. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could stay here, but I was like, nah, I cannot start today. But in my mind, I was just like a little kid in a candy store, like, woo, I got this job. So, so I was like, well, I can start, you know, Monday of next week. And I was like, what time would you like me to be here? So he told me the time. He took all my credentials, made copies of them. And, you know, I was like, well, before I leave, you know, let's talk about the pay, you know, because I needed to know, you know. So he was telling me about the pay. And, you know, he was telling me, since I had no experience, you know, other than my clinicals, that, you know, I will start off at the base pay. Now, since I'm in Indiana, the pay is completely different from what it is in Illinois. So, you know, I had to kind of take a, you know, breathe on that, you know, and I told him, like, I'm not happy with the pay. You know, I was like, can we negotiate? So he was like, well, what do you know, want to negotiate? So I told him. So he said, well, let me think about it over the weekend and I'll get back to you. So, when that Monday came, I called him, you know, and he told me, yeah, he could do it, you know. So I was very grateful and thankful or whatnot. And I see it as this is my first MRI job. So what I'm mainly looking to do is get my experience up. You know what I'm saying? Get that experience, that 2-year of experience. And then, you know, I could come back to find a job here in Illinois, you know, and get that pay that I actually really want. You know what I'm saying? But first, I need to get that experience up. So I'm using this as an opportunity to, you know, learn and get experience that I need to further, you know, myself when it comes to the next job that I get hired for as an MRI technologist. So I have learned so much being there at this facility. I really have, and I'm very grateful to have an owner, you know, who is my manager, who is like completely like understanding, very patient with me, very open. And, you know, like I truly appreciate that, especially with me being 5.5 months pregnant, you know, like I move real fast, you know, I get to doing what I got to do and get the patients in and out. But when there are times of uncertainty, like when I have questions, like for example, we had a patient who we were scanning their leg, and I believe we were scanning the I think it was mainly focused on the I want to say it was mainly focused on the tibia. And so he does not have a protocol set for tibia, for a long bone. But I found out that you have to go into the elbow protocols and, you know, look through there, and he has a set thing for long bone. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I didn't know that, you know. So he had to teach me that in that instant, and I got to type it, saving it in my iPad, you know. So the next time I know exactly what to pull up, you know. And then he furthermore told me like he was gonna create one for the tibia, for, you know, the leg or whatever like that. So I'm like, okay, cool. And with that same patient, you know, that patient was there for some type of stress fracture or something like that. So I didn't know that when a patient is there for anything stress fracture related, or tumor or cyst, it is generally understood that you should do an IR. I didn't know that either, you know. So that was something that I had to learn as well, that he required, because that's not in the protocols, you know. That's not in, like, when you open it up for, you know, for example, for the back or whatever, like that IR is not in there. It has FIR, which is fast inversion recovery, but that doesn't give the same clarity of fluid as just a regular IR would. So he showed me where to go into the system to find that at, you know. So that was like a learning process. And he didn't scold me, you know. He wasn't like, you should know, you know. He was just like, yeah, so let me show you, you know. And I just think that is so cool, you know, and so awesome. And, you know, I typed it in so that I could forever have that information present, you know, when I need to review that information again. So yeah, that's pretty much that. Like I said, I'm just very appreciative that I have a really good owner that I'm working under and everything, you know. It's all good. So the second part of information that I wanted to share with you guys, so I am enrolling back in school. I'm actually at the last part of enrollment, which is to do my math placement test. And because the school that I went to, I did a college math course, but the credits does not transfer over because the school isn't accredited by the new school that I'm going to, which is the University of Wisconsin. They're not accredited under the same accreditation. So my credits from my old college does not transfer over. The only thing that they accepted was my ARMRIT registration, me being ARMRIT registered. So I have to take a math placement test so that they can see that I am at college level with math. And then I sent in all my other documents and stuff. So once I finish that, I am expected to start August 8th for my bachelor's degree in diagnostic imaging. So that is something that I am doing for myself while I'm pregnant, you know, pretty much like utilizing my time wisely. And I'm pretty much doing it because one, the program is available, and I'm just like, look, I done studied this hard for the associates and became this thoroughly knowledgeable in physics, you know, to the point where I passed my exam. Might as well, you know, go for my bachelor's degree. Like, it's only gonna make me even more educated, you know, and even more thorough. So, you know, I definitely want to pursue that, you know. And then after that program is finished, I'm looking to go back. I'm not sure if it's gonna be for X-ray or for CT. I don't know. I'll figure that out at that point in time. But right now, I'm just really focused on my bachelor's in diagnostic imaging. So I'm excited. Just wanted to share that with you guys. Of course, I'll be putting videos up here, updating you guys on my status and, you know, as far as school and how things have been going in the program. And, of course, I will update you guys, you know, once again on my working experience and how everything has been for me. And, yeah, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to share that with you guys, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful weekend or pre-weekend. My birthday is tomorrow, May 28th, so I'm excited. So, other than that, you guys have a wonderful evening, and I shall talk to you later. Bye-bye.